Welcome to the Tour Junkies Golf Show on the Better Sports Network. DB here, Pat Perry. The Ryder Cup is past. The last big event of 2023 is behind us. We're going to have a ton of Ryder Cup reaction in this first segment, talking about a lot of storylines, a lot of things that came out, and then we will get into previewing the Sanderson Farms Chicken Cock Championship 2023 full field event going on the PGA Tour right now at the end of the show. So, Pat, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. The Ryder Cup. Now, we recorded our Ryder Cup recap podcast last night, and we went in on a number of topics. And I don't necessarily want to regurgitate all of that. People could go watch that, but there were things that I'm sure we could have gone further into, maybe things that we didn't get into at all. Maybe we have new thoughts since last night's segment. Have you had any new revelations since last night's recording, or is there somewhere you'd like to pick up?
I don't think I have any new revelations. We did talk a good bit about the Ryder Cup and the recap last night. I don't think I've seen anything, although I have not been on any other social media today, so I don't know if you've seen anything that's changed from yesterday to today. So I don't really have anything out there that's changed. Now, I could certainly add a lot to what we have on the rundown here to talk about with the Ryder Cup, but for me, all the feelings are still the same, DB. They're still the same. So,
Well, we'll skip around. Obviously, the U.S. got crushed, and we'll talk about the competition maybe. Pat, I've done a couple of TikToks and Instagram videos lately. I don't know if you've paid attention on the Ryder Cup, and specifically on Patrick Cantlay, Xander Schauffele, some of the rumors swirling. The one that is surprising me the most, based on the internet's reaction to the video, and I literally posted it a couple hours ago, so I didn't have time to put together screenshots of these comments or whatever. But both on Instagram and TikTok, I did a video about Patrick Cantlay being married the Monday after the Ryder Cup in Rome to a lovely, lovely young lady that is well beyond what Patrick Cantlay should otherwise be able to get had he not, if he were not a, millionaire professional golfer. So I can understand the rush to lock that up. I can understand that you're in Rome for the Ryder Cup. She's with you doing the dog and pony show. And why not get married in Rome, right? I totally get that. We talked about it a little bit on our show last night. I think it's crazy that he would agree to get married and have what's based on pictures, look to be a pretty legit wedding, Pat. I mean, last night we didn't have pictures, so we didn't know. And
I still haven't seen pictures, so I don't know. I'm sorry.
You even said something like, I mean, maybe it's a small, quaint wedding. It did not look to be a small, quaint wedding. Okay. I can't imagine agreeing to that, playing in the Ryder Cup the evening before and all that goes into it. But I really also can't imagine, I can't believe the comments that I'm getting on this video. People thinking it's no big deal, thinking who cares, thinking, why am I concerned about this? I'm not concerned. People kill me on the internet. It's the internet. Literally nothing that is posted on Instagram does anybody have to do or look at. So if you're like, why?
Your day's not getting ruined by this,
right?
Yeah.
It's like, why do you care to post this, dude? Why does anybody care to post anything on the internet? This is the internet. But I'm starting to wonder, is it just me that feels like this is weird? And we talked about a couple of the reasons why we felt like it was weird. And based on the reaction I've gotten so quickly and the vitriol, I'm questioning now. Are we in the wrong for thinking this is strange?
Are you able to poll the commenters and see who's all been married and who's not? Because I don't know. I mean, it's been a while since I've been married, or got married. But
you're still married, right?
Yeah, I'm still married. But I think
same guy same girl?
I think I am.
Okay.
But there's a lot of distracting things that go on trying to get it ready for a wedding.
Yeah.
Something I wouldn't want to have going on while I was trying to win a Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
Nor would I. Now, I haven't seen the pictures, but I'm assuming there may be a groomsman in the wedding that played in the Ryder Cup also,
Yeah.
which it can be When did they have the rehearsal dinner? When was that? Was that like Friday night of Ryder Cup?
Yeah.
Because usually it's like 2 days before, maybe that's the night before. Did they had just
Yeah.
like they didn't do a team? They just kind of broke off from the team dinner and said, "Well, we got to get to our rehearsal dinner, and we got pictures. We got the rehearsal pictures. We got to be there at 5, and then we got to be at the dinner by 6, and then there's toast and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And none of y'all are invited except for Xander and his dad, and that's it. So we'll see you later. Like, is that what they did? I don't know. That's because that's how most weddings go, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, okay, so for those who didn't hear our rant about this on the show, I guess I have the main issue, and people on the internet are like, why does it matter? He won. He was the second highest scorer on Team USS on Team USA, and we lost. Shut up. And I'm like, you're missing it. You're missing it. Tony's got a picture. You can throw it up whenever you want, Tony. If you're, yeah, I mean, look at now. You can't tell exactly how many people are there, but I feel like this was not a small, quaint, just hop in the chapel in Rome and
Mhm.
let's do this. Um, okay, it's not about that. I even said in the video, people don't pay attention. Like, he obviously played well because I think he's an egomaniac and he's hyper competitive. He's also very, very, very good at golf. And when people started going in on him about the whole hat thing and started making him out to be this villain, and all of Europe was cheering against him, that fed him, and he played great. I'm not denying that. My whole thing is the mindset prior to. What mindset do you have about the value and the importance of the Ryder Cup and the team that you are on and the guys that you are in this competition with, and the country that you are representing, and the fans that you are hoping to represent proudly and bring back home the trophy to? If you are willing to get married the day after, let's just say you won, and you should be spending all of Sunday night. This was a new phrase that I learned, Pat. Cork down and bottle high, or cork high and bottle down, one or the other.
Huh.
Just hammered,
Yeah.
just obliterated, dancing, doing your thing with your mates, with your teammates, if you want. Or worst case scenario, and probably unlikely, but could happen. And I'm just saying, this is how I would think. This is how I think. If my wife wanted to get married, be like, babe, okay, let me run this scenario by you. Worst case scenario, but let me run it by you. Let's say on Sunday night, as the sun is setting in Rome on the whateverth hole on the back nine, I am the guy who has to make this putt to win it or lose it for Team USA, and I miss it, and I'm devastated. I've just
Yeah.
had this long emotional week. This 5 matches, five matches in 3 days, 4 matches in 3 days, and then I lose the Ryder Cup for Team USA, or I feel like I do. I'm not gonna be in it all the way. So it's like, to me,
Yeah.
one way or the other, your mindset, it just, that's what I'm saying. Like, it feels like it speaks to his mind. Maybe it speaks more to his mind about his wedding. I don't know. Like, but isn't that weird? Am I the only one? Are we the only two that think it's
I
just a
don't see
little
how we could
strange?
be the only two. You'd have to have some explanations in here. Like, I don't know. I mean, I think that's the thing about TikTok and things you put on the internet too, because you can't really explain yourself. You can just like put it out there, and then people are going to take it for what it is. And
Yeah.
they're not listening to exactly what you and I are saying back and forth on this thing. But I mean, I don't see how anybody in their right mind could not think this is a little bit strange.
I don't either. But yeah. Oh, and then people are like, oh, one thing I saw was like, and I didn't think about it. Whatever. One thing I saw was like, um, well, he'd have had to ask the family and friends that were already over there for the Ryder Cup to stay another night or two. And I'm like, okay, I mean, do you want to take a guess at what Patrick Cantlay's net worth is? Maybe Tony, could you Google that? What's Patrick Cantlay's net worth? But I don't think it's that big of a deal, and it still doesn't matter. Like he has enough money that if he looked at the Ryder Cup the way we just described, that would just be trumped, and he would figure it out, and and that's it.
Yeah.
Or those people would figure it out. Like it's not my problem that my wedding is 3 days after the event ends. It's because I'm playing in the freaking event. No, that's not his net worth, Tony. There's no way. He made that like this year. So he made 16 million, or maybe that's his tour earnings. It can't be. It's way more than that. It's got to be way more than that. But anyway, I don't know. I've been shocked today at the response to that concept, and I just find it strange. Especially in context with all the other things all the other rumors that swirled around this week, right?
Yeah.
About him wanting to be paid, believing that he was vocal about that. Xander's now backing him up on this. Xander's dad throwing fuel to the fire with some interesting quotes, and and them not being in the pre, the trip before, that was a few weeks before, to Rome. Xander and Cantlay didn't come. I don't know. It just seems like there's a lot of little things that add up to maybe Patrick Cantlay just doesn't really care.
He's just such an interesting personality. I don't know
Yeah.
what he cares about other than getting married the day after the Ryder Cup.
Well, it was interesting though. I will say that the Ryder Cup was interesting. It felt like for a moment there on Sunday, the U.S. had a chance. We were seeing possibilities. We had hope for a minute. Those hopes were eventually dashed, and it just seems like the chances of the U.S. team winning on foreign soil, which now won't happen for another 4 years at Adair Manor in Ireland, are just pretty bleak, I think.
Yeah. As are the Europeans' chances of winning at Bethpage Black.
Yeah,
If we're
Bethpage
just
is gonna
going,
be a stew.
if we're just going by the recent trends and all of that, I mean, I think that, and you and I, like we talked about this on the show last night, like how I think you can get weird a little bit when it comes to how you're going to put together the team, especially to go over into Europe. Like we got to change something.
Yeah,
I just think there's and we can't have this old guard, same co-captains and whatever, just recycling each other around, because it just doesn't work over there. Maybe here, maybe over here when we do a Ryder Cup, that's the year you do that. But then when you get to the Ryder Cup over there, we just change it all up. Because what else would you do? What do you like? What are you preventing from happening? Because we're already getting our asses kicked when we go there.
yeah.
So if you just change it up and get weird with it,
Right, what you're saying is, what do you have to lose?
yeah,
If we go by the same old process
yeah,
and we lose, then that's I think you're more criticized than if we change stuff up and lose.
yeah,
Because then people go, well, at least he tried, whoever the captain is, at least he tried something different. At least he tried to shake things up a little bit. At least he leaned a little more into, whether it's the analytics side that the Europeans seem to do so well in terms of pairings and stuff, or the way he goes about the captain's picks. Like, you're definitely, I think you're right. You definitely have a lot more to lose as the captain, especially in Ireland in 4 years, if you just do the same old damn thing
mm-hmm.
and lose. You're way better off to change something and lose.
100%. I don't see why you wouldn't do that.
But I think, yeah, yeah. And then you have the Joe LaCava stuff with Cantlay, who's Cantlay's guy, Tiger's former guy. One of our faithful listeners, Dave in Phoenix, we did have some questions submitted about this that we didn't get to on our show. But Rory versus LaCava in a street fight, who do you think wins? Because I mean, Rory's obviously younger, more in shape. Isn't LaCava like just dyed in the wool New York? Just
I would not want to be.
Old school.
I would not want to be going against LaCava.
I wouldn't either.
I think Rory would
Yeah.
like he'd be like a little roly poly.
I think LaCava would bop Rory on the top of the head and just embarrass the hell out of him.
Yeah,
I think Rory, he's probably got that. God, he's got that old man strength.
just
Can you
bop
imagine?
him on the head, and Rory just kind of
Yeah,
jelly falls to the ground,
yeah,
and then it's over.
yeah. So with the whole hat thing, that was another question that got submitted. Is on the golf course? Forget the debate on the Ryder Cup, but just in general, people want to know: are we hat guys on or off on the golf course? And I will say, I am pretty much a no. I prefer a no hat deal on the golf course. I think you probably are okay with it, but you tend to wear a hat every time, right?
No, I'm not like against it. Like
Right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
yeah, but I always wear a hat on the golf course. I
I
don't like my
prefer.
hair flopping around in the wind or
Oh
whatever.
yeah, you have problems with that. I don't have that
I
problem.
don't think. Did you not play with a hat in the member guest?
I did not play with the hat on the first day, and then but I
Uh,
also forgot to apply sunscreen, so my forehead was baked because we were out there for 7 hours playing 27 holes. So
yeah.
the second day I wore a hat. I prefer, especially when it's hot. When it's hot, I prefer no hat. I mean, what does a hat do? It keeps heat in. It makes you more sweaty. So I don't like that.
Yeah, I'm a hat person.
If I had a choice and I was playing on tour, I was playing the Ryder Cup, I wouldn't wear a hat. Also, we didn't talk about this. Is it not the dumbest? Am I the only one in the look? This is another one. We should title the show. Is DB the only one? Am I the only one who thinks that the excuse of I couldn't find a hat to fit is about the most idiotic excuse I've ever heard for a Ryder Cup player in 2023 to give? I mean, we're not talking about 1974 when nobody gave a shit and Ralph Lauren wasn't outfitting the whole team 6 months in advance, and anybody who could possibly be on the team 6 months in advance, and spending thousands and thousands of dollars on wardrobe and apparel. And also, I mean, hats these days, guess what, Patrick? You have options. And I kept looking, I'm like, they're almost all of them are snapbacks. What is so special about your head that you couldn't find a hat to fit? I think that you're lying, and that is the dumbest lie you could possibly tell
He
somebody.
does have a weird head.
No, no, Pat. There's no way. How could you have that weird of a head?
Look, it's the Ryder Cup hats. I don't know. Maybe he wears a special hat his entire career that is made by some brand that fits his head properly.
And you don't think that, and you don't think that knowing Patrick Cantlay would be on the Ryder Cup literally 7, 8 months ago, maybe longer, that either the brand that he has to wear, his special shoes hat brand that he has to wear.
It's like your PO.
Yeah.
DB's got to have his PO wherever he goes when he goes out of town, his pillow.
Pat is saying pillow. He likes to say PO. But like, you mean to tell me that in all that time, that brand and the Ryder Cup couldn't figure it out? I don't buy that, and I also just don't buy that his head is that misshaped or whatever. Like,
What's the big deal about not wearing the hat though?
but that's what I'm saying. People just, but people were mad at that. People were using it, and you could, and he said that Jamie Weir was a Euro in the pocket Euro fake news journalist who planted that story to get people riled up, and it wasn't real, and it was a protest about the money. When
How old is Jamie Weir?
I think he's like your age.
Do you think he was cognizant maybe in 2016? Do you think did he have eyes and a brain and a pen that he could write with?
I can't speak to that. I don't know. I would imagine.
I mean,
yes.
what was his writings about the fact that Rory didn't wear a hat in 2016?
Yeah.
Rory didn't wear a hat in 2016. Go watch the Patrick Reed Rory match.
Right.
He was not wearing a hat.
And I'm not.
So why is it? What does Jamie think that's so bad about Cantlay not wearing a hat? But it's like
I don't think that's what Jamie's saying. Jamie just made up something so that he could get the story, so that he could give legs to the idea that Cantlay thinks that players should be paid.
Okay.
And so Cantlay kind of validated it and was like, well, yeah, I mean, I think there's some things about payment, but that's not where I'm not wearing a hat. I'm not wearing a hat because I couldn't find one that fit me. And that to me is stupid. Tony says ESPN's Michael Collins, who tweeted at Cantlay saying he can't find a hat that fits. Oh, Michael Collins tweeted that. Despite the players being measured several months ahead of time for team uniforms, is like a fat guy in Whole Foods saying, I can't find the vegetables. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying that I'm only making this point to say, come on, Cantlay. Like, you're a really smart guy. And we know he's a smart guy. We've heard he's a very smart guy. You have to know, like, you saying that is the dumbest thing. And just, why don't you just say, I don't like wearing a hat. If it's my preference to not wear a hat. And since I'm not being paid to wear it, I don't want to wear it. And the only reason I wear it on the PGA Tour is because Megacorp, whatever business that is that's actually a shell company for some evil empire, is paying me a bunch of money to wear it. The end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I
I'm
told you.
now searching. I'm searching why Rory did not wear a hat in the 2016 Ryder Cup.
So on the player paid thing, we talked about that too on our show last night. Have you thought about it anymore?
Not in any different way.
Say,
Rory,
what?
I have a pea head, and the hats were not made for me. It's the same reason.
That is a lie. That's a lie.
The hats were made too big for me. That was his quote. It's a tweet from December 27th, 2016.
That's a lie.
When somebody asked him.
It's a straight up lie. I don't believe that at all. I don't believe it at all.
Well, I'm just saying, why is it any different for?
Yeah, because
for Cantlay.
I've already explained that to you. Because Jamie Weir was not being honest in the reporting, so that's why it's different. It's not different, but that's why it's different.
Everybody's a liar.
If you're saying you're a top player in the world and they couldn't make a hat to fit you for months, that you're lying. I would literally bet everything I own that you're lying. I just don't believe it.
Maybe I'm naive, and I believe it.
Okay, we're not going to make this whole show
I don't
about.
They sit there and think about their wardrobes for the Ryder Cup all year long,
huh?
I don't think they sit there and think
That's
about
not what
it.
I'm saying. What are you talking about? We're not going to argue over a hat fitting for the entire Better Sports Network.
Saying
that's not what I'm saying. You're literally arguing with something I'm not even saying.
You're saying he's a liar. I'm saying I don't think that's true.
No. You're saying I don't think he's sitting there thinking about a hat all year long. No shit, Sherlock. I don't think he is either. But people are there thinking about it. People who are working on the Ryder Cup for 2 years, Ralph Lauren, Imperial, whoever it is working on the Ryder Cup for 2 years. They're fitting players months in advance. Those people's job is to think about it and figure out how to make sure.
Apparently they're not thinking about it since 2016 because the same damn thing happened to Rory.
Which is why I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Okay.
It's too easy. It's too easy of a thing to do. We got way hard. We do stuff way harder in much more efficient ways than I can't imagine it being to get a hat to fit the number one player in the world, Rory McIlroy, in 2016 or whatever he was.
I hate 90% of the hats you wear. None of them would fit me, right? So,
why are you taking shots at my hats now?
I don't know what to say. I have a very particular hat that I like to wear. And a lot of people don't make hats the right way anymore. They make them too flat billy.
Too flat billy?
Mm-hmm.
But again, this is so annoying that I'm arguing with you this long on this. If Rory McIlroy says, I don't want a flat bill, I want a curved bill, then they will fucking make him a curved bill.
I don't know. I'm sure they will. But maybe even that one is wrong.
This is not the Pan-Asian Amateur, and people just get whatever hat they get. This is the effing Ryder Cup that happens every 2 years. This is not Pat Perry getting a free hat from some company that wants to send us a free hat, and you going, I ain't wearing that shit. It's a flat bill hat.
That's exactly
God.
right. That's exactly right.
What do you want to talk about?
Not hats anymore. I mean, we can talk about pay to play. To me, it's not. I mean, look, I get it. People have a right to do whatever they want. If they want to make money off of anything, they can. It's America, free country. But sometimes you do things in life and work. I do it every day. You know what? Before I came here to do this show, I sat with somebody for an hour that I will get paid $0 to do, but I did it as a favor to somebody else so that I could potentially help that person. So, you know, I mean, you don't always have to do every single thing you do for money. Why don't you do something for a bigger common goal? You know?
Yeah.
That was funny, Tony. Listen, Tony, you should listen to all our shows. This happens all the time.
Tony just chatted. It's like dad just slapped mom at the dinner table kind of vibe in here. Oh. Um.
Uh, I think that I think one thing too about the pay to play thing is there's not a whole lot what seems like to be a any sort of transparency on what money is there and what's available to the players and what they actually do get and what they. I mean, maybe you've read some stuff, but when you enter a Ryder Cup or like you enter a golf tournament, at the end of the golf tournament, it's like, okay, so and so won, they made 1.5, second made 1.2, whatever it is. Ryder Cup doesn't have that. You don't have that where after the Ryder Cup you see that this team won this team won that. There is, every time I see this on social media, it's like, well, they don't have to get paid or whatever, but then somebody says, well, they do get paid. And then I'm like, well, how do they get paid? I don't know. Like, I don't know how they got paid. But all the smart people, the writers that anyway, the writers that are so smart, they always say, well, yeah, they do get paid, but they don't say how. They don't say what the details of it are. But apparently they are getting some compensation in some way.
I don't think that's true for the Americans. That doesn't seem like that's the case. I did read something, and I could be wrong here. Producer Tony, this is a big fact check show. I could be wrong here, but I'm pretty sure I read that the European team gets a payment that goes to a charity that gets to go to a charity in their name or of their choice. But I don't think the U.S. even gets that. They don't get any of that. They don't get any payment. They get the experience and everything that comes with it, which is like I've read that it's like stipends for clothing for the galas and all that stuff, and it's obviously all the swag they get, and I'm sure a lot of travel and all that stuff's taken care of, but they don't get any other financial compensation. And then I don't know. I think it's split up differently based on what country it's in, or whether it's in Europe or it's in.
See, I think you're missing the charity thing because what I'm reading is that the charity is to the U.S. players and they get to donate $200,000 to the charity of their choice.
Oh, okay, so that's for U.S. players too.
And then 20% of the Ryder Cup television deal goes to the PGA Tour Player Pension Fund, which is where we were talking about last night, is an indirect way that they do get paid because that pension fund, which is a very good pension fund. Not many people have pensions. If you deal with retirees these days, not many people have pensions anymore. And the PGA Tour Pension Fund is one reason they're able to keep a lot of these players, from going to live and stuff like that because they have such a great pension fund. Now, if you offer enough money on live, they're going to, Brooks Koepkas and whoever else are going to say, well, a Phil Mickelson, I'll give up the pension fund.
Okay, but
in an indirect way, it is.
But that's kind of lame. Like, to me, if they're going to give 20% to the PGA Tour Player Pension Fund, and that's going to happen regardless, why does that benefit Zach Blair the same as it benefits Max Homa? Like, it should go to the 12 players who made the team's pension fund. If that's what you're going to do.
Well, but that's what I don't know is clear. That's what I'm saying. I don't know how
that is clear. That goes to the entire fund that the tour uses for everyone to benefit from. So anyone who's qualified for that player pension fund is benefiting from that, sitting at home on their couch, not playing the Ryder Cup.
How do you know that's the case?
I read it in a book. No, I read it in an article.
I seriously think they, as I'm adding $1 million to Sam Burns' pension fund, which he has the benefit of.
I'm almost certain that's not what is reported. That what is reported is it goes into the general PGA Tour players pension fund that impacts every player within that pension fund. And to me, either you don't give it to that pension fund at all and you do something else with it, or if you're going to give it, there's no reason it should benefit anyone other than the Ryder Cup players that played in that event. So let me ask you this. If that's true, if it does go into the general pot, do you think that what I'm saying is a better alternative and possibly a way to pay players that they're already doing now, pretty much, but you're removing the fact that you're paying guys like Zach Blair and Kelly Craft and Scott Stallings, who are sitting at home not participating in the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that if you're there should be a different way. If there's not a single benefit, if we're going one for one,
Yeah.
JT's is this, this goes to JT's pension fund, this goes to Jordan's, this goes to, like, if you're not divvying it out that way, yeah, I would say there'd be a different way. But the bottom line for me is I'm not so sure how much they should or should get paid.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a long, lengthy debate. So I do have one thing I want to bring up to close the Ryder Cup conversation that we didn't talk about at all yesterday. The Brooks Koepka troll picture on Sunday night.
Great.
I gotta say,
You're starting to like Brooks a little more.
I think I'm kind of coming around. I think I used to like Brooks, and then I think I went way away from liking Brooks. I love just kind of the troll job that he can do at times. Like he's actually really good at it. And for as inept as so many of these guys are on social media, with the exception of a few, Max Homa being one, he kind of speaks. He doesn't do a lot on social, but when it's like he speaks very infrequently, but when he does, he carries a heavy stick, right, or whatever that saying is. Like when he does it, it hits, and it's so funny to me that he thought of that, or somebody thought of that, and that he got those guys to do that. And I mean, quite electric to think about. PGA Tour Homer Homa. I mean, the guy that or one of the guys, one of the few handful of guys that the PGA Tour has really propped up in this whole thing, who's been very honest and very candid in the microphone at press conferences for the last 2 years about LIV. And the PGA Tour has put him in front of those microphones at every opportunity they could get so that he could be the guy to answer a lot of those questions, wearing a Smash GC shirt.
Yeah, it was. At first, I had to do like a double take when I saw it. I was like, "What?" And then you realize like what's going on there, and it was because I think the caption was "I make money moves."
Yeah.
I mean, it was good stuff.
It was really good. I mean, very clever. Now, listen, I think Brooks is gonna. I think like Tiger, like we'll see Brooks change now that he's got a son. Kids change you. They give you perspective. They keep you humble. They teach you selflessness, and that's probably a big one that he's gonna have to learn. Is like everything's been all about him for his whole life, probably. So, I think we'll see Brooks evolve as a person, which is good. I still think there's probably a big part of him that, like a lot of these guys, is a very self-centered individual. That
Well, almost all it
Yeah.
seems like. But here's the thing about Brooks that when I started kind of thinking about it too, about how he just goes about it his own way.
Mhm.
He doesn't really care what anybody else has to say. He showed up at every single major tournament this year, wore his own clothes. He didn't like go all out with all the lift shit.
Yeah.
Like he didn't wear, I mean, that picture's funny because he's got everybody wearing the team deal. But whenever he was at a major, he looked sharp.
Yeah.
He didn't have a bunch of logos and stuff. He just like that to me is not making it about yourself in a way. Like you're not wearing your stupid live logo like and
Yeah.
like Patrick Reed's doing or whoever
Bryson.
else. Bryson.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have. Listen, he's nowhere near the level of Bryson. I mean, God, I mean that's well documented. Bryson's
Yeah.
YouTube channels and all the stuff he's doing. I'm not saying that he's anywhere near that level, but yeah, it was a funny picture, made me laugh. Great troll job, and it just was jarring to think about how far we've come seemingly so quickly since the whole live PGA possible framework agreement situation, which is still to be determined if it's going to have any legs. But it was just wild to see, and especially with Max Homa being there. So, Tony has, before we take a break, an exclusive picture of Rory with a Ryder. They found one. They found a Ryder Cup a Ryder Cup hat that fits Rory. Well done. Well done, Tony.
Yeah. Well
They
done.
finally, maybe that one's more suited for Cantlay with his big old head.
Well, I think he wore a hat this year and the last couple. So they obviously, after 2016, they finally figured out a way to build a hat for him.
So in 7 years, in 2023, they finally figured out how to make it.
And so in 2030, Patrick Cantlay will have a fittable hat.
God dang it. All right, we have to take a break. We're coming back to talk about the Sanderson Farms Championship on the PGA Tour. We're going to talk about some favorite bets, our DraftKings cash lineup, and all that good stuff. So stay right here on the Better Sports Network. Tour Junkies Golf Show coming right back.
Can we also talk about how just John Carlson has fallen off the face of the earth here, and like nobody's batting an eye, but yet this is a player who can easily top 60 points when healthy. We understand the Capitals are a bad team, but he is on the power play with Alexander Ovechkin. And considering the injuries with, Nick Backstrom in his hips and Evgeny Kuznetsov and whatever, like he's still good. And I think people forget that just because he was hurt for so long last year. But this is a player who can produce and just feed Ovi the puck in his office and collect about. Again, he's not going to block a whole bunch of shots, and that's fine. And he's probably not going to shoot the puck a ton just because there's so many good shooters on it. You also add Max Pacioretty to that lineup, and you probably take off some shots. But the Capitals are not going to be a very good team. They're going to be playing a lot of catch-up hockey, and he's going to be on the ice. He's going to be there a lot. The only player who could take something away from him is Rasmus Sandin. Yes, Sandin. He's the only player I think who can really maybe dig in a little bit to his ice time or a little bit into his offensive production. But again, that's a slight risk. If I'm getting Carlson outside of that top 10 of defensemen that we just named, I'm happy. I should have never mentioned it. Everybody can just not listen to what I just said. Just forget it, right? Men in Black.
We'll edit this out in post. We'll get rid of
correct and just leave it as a secret because that's where I would go.
This wasn't a Max Pacioretty injury where he's messed up his knees and all that. Like he got hit in the face.
Yeah.
Right. That was the injury, and he came back and he still scored points. So, I mean, this is good.
Washington's D-core as of right now, right? Nick Jensen, Trevor Riemsdyk, Martin Ferravari, Joel Edmondson, and Rasmus Sandin. So, like, there's not many people who are going to be digging into his ice time offensively, right? They got a lot of guys who are just going to, play defense, protect, and whatnot. So, Carlson could be that guy who's just going to be out there a lot when they are trailing because they need a goal or something, and maybe he bumps to 24, 25 minutes a night. Nice sleep walk.
Well, if you're not in any of our leagues, make sure you keep an eye on him. If you're in our league, stay away.
No. Keep in mind too that the Capitals have said that as long as Ovechkin is still playing, they are not gonna go into rebuild mode, which means they're gonna play these guys like Carlson and Ovechkin, and they're playing them into the ground. It's all set up for him to get a ton of playing time anyway. And at least this year, especially because he missed half a season last year, if they're gonna run him out there in an Erik Karlsson San Jose fashion like last year, this is gonna be the year they do it.
Making you money in daily fantasy sports and golf betting. Tour Junkies on Better Sports Network.
All right, welcome back to the Tour Junkies Golf Show on the Better Sports Network. All the Ryder Cup discussion is over. It's done. We're retiring it. It's done. We're not doing it again for another 2 years, maybe almost 2 years. So done. Ball game out. Now we turn our focus to the Sanderson Farms Chicken Cock Trophy Championship 2023 at the Country Club of Jackson in Mississippi. Been going here. Been doing this about 10 years on the PGA Tour at this golf course, and in those 10 years, they've never seen a field like this. But boy, what some may see as a field full of just mules on the PGA Tour, just absolute nobodies, a desolate desert of talentless hacks, we see as opportunity, right, Pat? Opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
You-
Yeah, there is opportunity out there.
Yeah. You're gonna see the winner lift this trophy at a nice number. A nice number, because boy, there's just no top end talent. You do have Ludwig Aberg, the young kid.
Excuse me, it's
What is it?
Oberg.
Huh?
It's Oberg.
Oberg? Are you sure about that?
I don't. It's something O.
Oh,
It's
so you don't actually
Oberg.
know either.
It's Oberg.
See, that's
he said it.
I know he knows.
I know it. I know the front end is an O.
Okay, I know.
I don't know what the
that
back
he
end
knows
is.
his own name. Yes, I got that. But that was my
Yeah.
point last night. I'm gonna keep saying Aberg because I'm not gonna be able to say it the way he says it. So if I'm gonna mess it up anyway, I'm just gonna mess it up. I'm gonna Americanize the crap out of it. And you're like trying and go Oberg. That ain't it either. You don't have it either.
Oberg. Do you gargle the G?
I don't know if I heard any gargling though. I don't know if I heard any gargling. Anyway, he's here, but I don't know. I mean, we talked about that last night. I can't imagine all that he's gone through in the last few months, obviously the last couple weeks, and just jet setting his way straight from the party from Rome to Jackson, Mississippi. That's quite the culture change there. Shock. As the 10-1 favorite. I don't love that. I don't enjoy that at all.
Yeah, I don't. I'm with you. I'm not. I can't say I wouldn't. I would totally fade him in like DFS lineups, but I still think he's going to be kind of chalky anyway, just because it is. I mean, he is still one of the best players in this field, despite how young he is. But I don't want to. I don't want to bet him on the short end. And this is really where we start to see a few longer odds, as you were mentioning, start to win some tournaments in the fall. And outside of one or two guys that are up there as the favorites, there's a lot of guys in the mid range that can win this golf tournament. So that's where I'm gonna live with my bets.
I mean, we both like Eric Cole. We both like Emiliano Grillo. Eric Cole's at 20-1. Grillo at 25-1. Who was the other guy up here you liked?
I like Jaeger at 22-1.
Well, he's shortened. Do you still see it at 22-1? I see him at 16 on DK.
What?
He's at 16.
I see him at 20 on BetMGM, but he was at 22 last night. So
okay, yeah. So he's shortening. So who knows? That could be the sharp side to be on. Other than that, like Adam Svensson at around 40-1 is kind of where I start opening up, and Bo Hostler, of course, my newfound interest in Bo Hostler has been awakened this week, and I'm in. I'm just going to be in. I'm going to be in on it this week.
I'm shocked, really shocked that Bo Hostler has reached your lips.
Yeah,
but
in a positive
here we
way.
are. Yeah.
Do you have any, of all those guys in the mid range that we talked a lot about on the podcast last night in detail? Do you have any that you've kind of narrowed things down to, or any that you've started to lean more heavily into, or guys you're starting to kind of maybe cross off the list as we start to narrow things down?
I would say that I can tell you a couple that I've already definitely bet on. One is Lee Hodges.
Yep.
40-1.
I like it.
I'm a big fan there. The other one that I've really just like a lot this week is Doug Gim, who is 50-1 on FanDuel. He's as short as 35-1 on BetMGM. So I think Gim and Hodges are like, those were the first two that I wanted to bet on and felt the strongest about. So that's what I would say. But there are a lot, like I said, in this mid range that I think I'm going to end up betting on.
Yeah. I mean, I like both of those a good bit. I'm still very interested in Luke List at 50 to 1, just because he started to show a little bit of promise with the putter, and we know how dominant he can be tee to green at times. I mean, like tee to green long term against this field, he's probably a top. I mean, if you zoom out, like last 100 rounds, last year, whatever of golf, he's probably a top 5 or top 10 player in this field when it comes to ball striking. And now,
Yeah.
if he's found anything that he can go off of with the putter and just not lose a million shots, he could really eat this place up. 4 par 5s on this place, 1 drivable ish par 4. It's not something that demands length. Length is able to be used to your advantage here, unlike other courses that can kind of constrain distance, but it's not required. I mean, Peter Malnati's one here. He's a short knocking putter guy. There's been other short hitters that are blanking me at the moment, but you've got bombers and short hitters both, good putters and bad putters both. Again, if Sergio and Cam Champ can win here, Luke List can win here.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Sergio won here when he couldn't putt at all. Cam Champ's never been able to putt either. He's almost as bad as Luke List. So it can happen. You've got pure Bermuda green, southeastern Bermuda putting surfaces here you got to be comfortable on.
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to look?
If you read quotes from players,
Mhm.
like one of the first things they go to is how pure these greens are and how much they're like, they love these greens, like just the best, some of the best they play all year.
Yep. Oh, and guess what else? Guess what else backs up my Luke List love? Guess who has the course record here, Pat? 61,
Right.
11 under course record.
I guess Luke List.
That would be awesome. He does have a runner-up finish here. I didn't mention that. He's not playing right now. We're waiting on him to emerge from injury.
Oh, Willie Z.
Willie Z. I mean,
Yeah.
it won't take you long to find videos of Willie Z having a seizure over a 3-foot putt. So if Willie Z can shoot a 61, Sergio and Cam Champ can win here. Don't talk to me about Luke List not being able to get it done here.
Okay.
Now, I do realize I'm putting him in the class of, multiple-time PGA Tour winner, major champion Sergio, multiple, PGA Tour winner, major contender Will Zalatoris, and then Cam Champ, who's won like 4 times. But anyway, do you have any first-round leader leans, by the way?
I do not yet. I have not been able to see whether or not there's going to be any kind of. I mean, the weather looks.
Yeah, looks perfect.
I feel like if it's going to be that way, and just with as pure as these greens are, you're just throwing darts, and I don't want to give you any darts.
Okay.
So
I did. You know what I noticed today? I was reading through some media guide notes, and this is never a bet that we make. We literally never make this bet. But there's somebody in our Discord. I don't know if he still does it, but Pat, don't we have the guy in our Discord who's like the hole-in-one bet?
Yes. Yeah. I think he's a doctor.
He's a doctor.
He says he's a
hole-in-one. He's a PhD in aces.
Yeah.
If you love that hole-in-one prop, and I don't know what the odds are, I can pull it up. There's been an ace at this tournament every year since 2015, with only 2018 as the exception, and there were 2 last year.
Yeah.
I mean,
2.
There were
plus 340. Oh, round 1. Okay.
A hole-in-one for the tournament, yes, is minus 200. Ugh, that's gross. You got to lay the serious juice on that one. I'm not doing that. Then never mind.
But Tony's saying plus 340 in round 1.
Yeah, I see that on DraftKings, but I mean, round 1 if you're trying to nail a hole-in-one specifically in a round, that gets really difficult. I was just looking at the tournament thing, hoping we might get like a minus, 110 or something, but obviously not going to happen. Do you have any other bets that you like for the Sanderson Chicken Farms Cock Championship?
Yeah, I got a couple other players that I like. I think one is Sam Ryder.
Yes.
I like Dylan Wu. I like all the Woos. I like Brandon Wu and Dylan Wu. There might be another Wu.
There's a U. There's a
Kevin Yu. Sorry, Kevin Yu.
There's a I like D Wu the most out of all the U's.
Yeah, I think. And then I think the longest odds guy I really like is Carson Young at 110 to 1. And Another is a top 20. My boy Robbie Shelton's coming around eventually. He's plus 400 for a top 20. Finished top 20 not last week, but a couple weeks ago at the Fortinet. I think we're going to start seeing some Robbie Shelton finally coming through with where everybody's been expecting him to be. Just such a pure ball striker. We've heard that from several players about Robbie. So
yeah, we've seen it for ourselves too, up close.
Yeah, that's right. We walked with him at the
I think we're the
Championship.
ones that have been expecting Robbie to do well. I don't know that anybody else has, but I would love to see it happen. My top 20 bomb is Jason Duffner at 8-1, who has, I think, 2 top 20s in his last 3 starts, 3 top 30s or so in his last 4. The putter.
The thing is, I feel like every time you talk about Jason Duffner, he never.
That's not true.
Yeah, I think
No,
it
it's
is
not.
true.
No, it's not. I've done well with Jason Duffner in the last probably 3 or 4 months. For real. I'm not making that up.
Okay.
I'm not a liar like Cantlay and Rory with my hat.
I didn't call you a liar. I mean, you can misremember.
No,
things.
you were looking at me like you didn't like you thought I was bullshitting you.
No, I thought you were misremembering.
No, I'm not misremembering that. I promise. I remember the guys who hurt me over and over. I mean, he's 8-1. Like it's not very likely, but he's given it a run a fair amount this summer, and I would attribute it to improved putting, which has always been his problem. So I'm buying the possible rise in a good putter with Jason Duffner. All right, we got to get to our DraftKings cash lineup. Let's do that. Talking about building a 50-50 or double up or maybe head-to-head lineup, not a GPP tournament style lineup. This is something where ownership is kind of somewhat thrown out the window. Our sole goal here is to get 6 players that we feel comfortable about playing the weekend and making the cut. Obviously, we didn't say this, but the winning score the last 5 years has been around 19 and a half under. So like that's going to be your over under mark. You're going to have to make a bunch of birdies here. So you want guys to make the weekend so they can make a bunch of birdies and you can double up your money easily in a cash game. So let's get to DraftKings and build a joint cash lineup that we both love. Pat, I will give you the honors. You have the tea, sir. Who are you picking first?
Thank you. I'm going to start with Mackenzie Hughes.
Stop. No, you're not. No. Defending champion, by the way, but no.
Yeah. No, I'm going to start with Dylan Wu, 7,600.
Okay. I am happy to click Dylan Wu. I'm going to go up to a guy you're happy with at 9,100 and go Doug Gim.
Okay. I'm going to drop us down and go with my boy Lee Hodges.
Love that.
Although I'll say this, I think for a GPP lineup, going to Ben Griffin is a good call too up there. Not that we can't add him in, and we could add him in if we wanted to, but we'll go Lee Hodges.
I don't know if I feel as good about Griffin in the cash lineup, but I agree. I think that 8K range is a nice pivot. There's going to be a couple of pivots there because there's going to be a lot of action in the 9 and 10. There's going to be 1 or 2 guys in this range to get some love, and that's probably it. Everybody else is going to be ignored. A guy who is going to get a lot of attention in tournaments and will be popular, but we can freely put in our cash lineup is the aforementioned Sam Ryder at 8,500. I will click on him. We're going very balanced here, as you can see.
Yeah, we are. Well, I think that now Grayson Sig feels pretty good though at 7,500.
Love that.
So let's go Sig there. That's going to give you a good amount there to mess with. Actually, it puts you up there in a perfect area.
Yeah, so we have 9,000 left. Oh, yeah. And I mean, I love Svensson. I love Smalley. I think Hubbard's a fine cash play. I worry a little bit about his winning upside, but you don't need him to win in this cash lineup. I'm good with any one of those 3. Who would be your favorite out of those 3? Smalley, Svensson, and Hubbard.
Probably Svensson.
Yeah. I don't mind it. Let's do that. So we're going to max out the salary here. But we went very balanced. You got Doug Gim at 9,100, Svensson at 9, Sam Ryder at 85, Lee Hodges at 83, Dylan Wu at 7,600, and Grayson Sig at 7,500. That is your That's your cash lineup. That's your double up your 50-50. All right, what you got, Tony? You got a question? Tony's raising his hand.
I've got a little something for you guys. Nothing in the DFS or in the betting market, but DB, you've mentioned it a couple times now. The Sanderson Farms Cock Trophy Championship. So I wanted to bring that up, and just for reference, here is the trophy that the winner will get.
Look at that
in this event. So I want to ask you guys, what's the worst trophy in the game of golf? I've got a couple pictures here to maybe jog your memory.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wanted
to throw that out to you guys with some of these. So this first one I'll bring up. It's from the Nelson Mandela Championship over on the old European Tour.
We're bringing in other tours.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That's just a
that looks
Is that Charlie Hoffman. Oh no, that's a look at Mandela. Now listen, South Africa's close to my heart. My wife and I have the nonprofit that serves South Africa. Mandela was a great man, but that is a creepy trophy.
Yes. This one, I've got the MCB Tour Championship, which I don't even know what tour this was from. I would assume it's maybe a senior event or over on the European Tour.
Oh dear.
What is that?
Is that modeled after Cardi B?
Kim K.
What is that
supposed to be? Like a walnut or something like that. I think this is either in maybe a Hawaii event, some event, obviously right along the water.
I also love that the champion has I love the glasses that separate in the middle. Those are my favorite. Like that is amazing. Oh.
And the last one I've got for you guys, the LPGA, and once you see the trophy, I kid you not on the name, Long Drugs Championship.
I've seen this one. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
I mean,
is this real? Is this a bit?
No, this one is real. This goes right along with the ANA Championship, the old ANA Championship with on the LPGA Tour, which if you don't know the logo for that event, do yourself a favor and Google that once we wrap up here, guys, because if you got a dumb brain like me, you will get a quite the chuckle out of that.
Wow. I think that one may be my favorite trophy in sports.
And also that who was that allowed Cheerios to like literally emblazon her entire hat, the front of her hat?
Yeah.
I think I just had it up here. I forget her name, but yeah.
Dang, Tony, those were. I mean, I thought the chicken trophy was weird, but yeah,
there's some weird ones. There's what the Rocket Mortgage one is a little just funky. Tigers
isn't like the CJ Cup one kind of weird.
Those was like the circle that looks like a Dyson. Yeah, like the Dyson fan, the bladeless fans.
Yeah,
and it's huge too. It's like 2 feet.
Yeah. You just hold up, stick your head through it.
I think one of those Dubai trophies is also gigantic. Like it looks like it's 5 feet tall.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with us. This has been a weird show. We'll be back next week. Next week, you got the Shriners Hospitals for Children Open in Vegas, and that actually will be a decent field. I've figured out.
Yeah.
There's going to be some good guys playing in that one because a lot of guys played local there in Vegas, TPC Summerlin. Not sure Pat's going to be here for that one, but I'll be here. We'll try to line up a guest. So check that out. Stay right here on the Better Sports Network. But thanks. Have a great week. Bend over your bookies. See ya.